Okay, here we go with another genetic study. Genetics is not the same as Bible study, but it's absolute. It's absolute information or facts that really cannot be altered, at least not at the present time, anyway. So let's go to the videotape. What we got? Examine the root of the family tree. So let's go add to the stage here. Put myself in the corner over here. Hopefully make some more room. And we'll go to the grok. Okay, so I asked grok, well, what happens if you root the tree with arpachshad or IJ? I didn't say arpachshad yet, but I just said IJ. So here we go. There's a root, IJ, and these are S&P markers here. This is the one for I, and the one for J is M304, possibly G. What's that? H. I don't know why it's giving that information. But anyways, so we got IJ. Oh, yeah, well, that's what happens here. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong place. But anyways, so you got F, you got an F, and you got G and H. Wonder if I got the right one here. I might have to go to the next one. Let me just double check here. Oh. Go down here. Yeah, okay. So somewhere here it's got what I want, hopefully. Yeah, here. E. There's E. There's K. There's IJ. Wait a minute. E is the oldest. Okay. Maybe I have to go back to the other one. Group 3 rooted at E. Okay, so it's group 3, group 2, and group 1. I think this is what I need for the time being. But the point I want to make here is that it should have been easier to see. But when you root the tree in IJ, that would be arpachshad as the oldest, because we know it's arpachshad because of the Cohen model haplotype, which identifies the IJ lineage as that of being Aaron, Levi, Jacob, Abraham, and arpachshad. So that's how we know the IJ belongs to arpachshad, is because the Cohen model haplotype identifies that lineage. So we got the usual I M170. Then you got G, but it's not showing it. Maybe I got to go back to the other one. But anyways, I'll just go through it first here, and maybe I'll find another place where you can see it better. But anyways, I was thinking that the IJ was difficult to explain because you got a IJK haplogroup. Because I thought I asked all the shared haplogroups. Thought I asked for all the shared haplogroups. Maybe I'll look at the previous one here. Okay. Or maybe it's not showing up here for some reason. Because I did it on my phone. Okay. Hypothetical scenario. Yeah, this is I asked for all the S&P markers. It's probably when I asked for all the S&P markers. Okay, here this is probably better. Okay, so the problem being is that the F node with the S&P marker M89 shared by G, H, I, J, and K. Okay, so my problem was if I root the tree in IJ, I'm thinking that each one of these has a separate S&P marker, but it's not true. Because if you look at the S&P markers where they got them listed, they have the IJK, the HIJK, the GHIJK, and the FGHIJK. I'm thinking these are all different markers, but they're not, which makes it easier to explain because there's only one marker that identifies F, G, H, I, and J shares the marker as well, which the Hamitic lineage does not have, this M89. But G has it, H has it, I has it, of course, and J, and the F has it. So instead of having FGHIJK and there's another marker, and HIJK is another marker, K is another marker. They're really only defined by this one S&P marker, M89, even though it's labeled FGHIJK, GHIJK, and HIJK. They all have the same, it's all under the same marker, and then they have their unique markers that identifies a G, H, and I. But I was assuming that, oh, that's going to be hard to explain because each one of them has their own S&P marker, but that's not the case. They have it written like that as if each one has their own S&P marker, but they all share the M89, including the IJ and the K. So it's not that hard. The only marker lost here would be the IJK marker, the M523 and the M429. These identify the lineage of IJ and K. K meaning K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, and T. But then of course, they have their own marker, M9. All of K has their own marker, M9. These are all Eurasians. So all the Eurasians have the M9 as a marker. And in fact, I don't even know if all of them have it, to be sure. But anyways, the way they have it. So it's easier to lose these markers here, and then H doesn't really lose a marker, it gains its own marker, and G doesn't really lose a marker, it gains its own marker, while sharing this M89. And F doesn't really lose a marker because it has, this F has M89. So it's not like each one is losing a marker, which I was thinking they have them labeled FGHIJK, GK, HIJK, and IJK. I'm thinking they're all separate S&P markers, but it's not, because they all share this M89 marker. So it's not as bad as what they make it out to be for when you root the tree in IJ. So R1B, R, let me see if we got anything else to see here, if it's explained better. Okay, I guess this is better. This is more like what I was wanting, I guess. All right. Okay, so we got the F group, but this is in the backwards order now. The F group, the defining S&P is M89. And but this is actually, it's not a defining S&P, it's actually shared with G. But they're saying as opposed, if you're going backwards from E to F, they're saying it's a defining S&P, but it's not a defining S&P, it's a shared S&P with G. So we go over here, G shares M89. Because it's saying with F descendants, but it's backwards. Because they have this, they rooted the tree in Africa instead of the IJ. So then you go to H, this thing will cooperate. Its shared marker is M89. So they're all sharing the same S&P marker. They're labeled different letters because they have their own defining S&P markers. But their own defining S&P markers is not a problem. This is downstream. But they're actually sharing the same M89 with everyone else. So the way you have it is that beginning with A, the shared S&P is M89 and the K as well, M89, but it's being retained, being gained, going left to right from E to F. It's a marker being retained when you root the tree in IJ. So you have the J has the M89 identified by IJK. Of course, it has its defining marker. Well, actually, the IJ has let's see, the IJ don't have the oh, these here, yeah. The M52, I mean the M523 and the M429 define are the IJ, actually the IJK. But the unique marker is M70, but it's sharing, or in this case, retaining from the beginning, because this In other words, this marker was always there. It's being retained both in the descendants of Japheth, which is K, and is being retained in the descendants of Shem, which is IJ, H, G, and F, going backwards from the out of Africa. Because the out of Africa is the one going backwards in reality. But they're all, even though they're labeled different, the defining marker, or the shared marker, not the defining marker, the shared marker remains the same. And of course, these markers are their own markers. So these are the markers of the I. These are the markers of the J. And everything is downstream from there, from the J, in the J lineage. And in the I lineage, everything's downstream from M170, which is my lineage right there. Everything's downstream from there. My lineage is the M253 right there, the I1 M253. That's downstream, down in the I lineage. So these defining are all downstream, but the M89 is shared among all the descendants of Shem. The M89 is shared with F, but with F, it's called the defining marker, but this is where the M89 actually ends, right here. It should be, F should be, this M89 should be the shared marker that it has with the other ones. I don't know why they call it defining. Well, I just said why they have it defined, because it's going from E to F, and when they speak of F, they mean F and everything what they consider downhill. So that's what defines F as M89. But it's not going downhill from F. This is the end of the line for those inheriting M89, because the Hamitic lineages, the DE doesn't have it. They don't have it. They do share the M168. The DE shares the M168 with the CT, which is everyone in the world except for A and B. So this marker here is shared by everyone in the world with the exception of A and B, which is Put and Cush. So the C group, of course, is Nimrod. His defining lineage is M130 and M216. He shares this M168 with everyone else in the world, including D and E, which there was a time where Grok didn't explain it well to me, or he was giving me bad information. But it's a marker that's shared with everyone in the entire world except for A and B. Now this is CT, explaining that this marker is shared by everyone between C and T, assuming that C produces F and K all the way to T. But that's a false assumption. It's not going to work. Now, if you ask Grok to root the tree in IJ, it'll say, well, the S&P genetic distance doesn't allow for that, but we already know that the genetic distance is not a valid measure of age. And when you try to explain that all these haplogroups, every one of these major haplogroups, all existed at the same time with the exception of the birth order. So in other words, in the Hamitic lineage, it was E that was born first. That would be Mitzrayim. D was born second, which is Canaan. And C was born of Cush. Cush now is B. So B was born next, and Cush is the firstborn, or Nimrod is the firstborn of Cush. And Cush is B. But Cush, the descendants of Cush, no longer have, they're the odd ones out, they no longer have the S&P marker of M168 with the rest of the world, or the shared M168 with the rest of the world. The A and B do not have it. Okay, now when it comes to B, he shares M91 with haplogroup A at the node A0 through T node. Haplogroup A. Okay, so M91 is shared with A. And you have A is defined by M91. M91 is shared with other basal haplogroups, A00, AO at the root of the Y DNA tree, A00 has a unique S&P like L248. Now, there are more S&P markers, but they're not going to be a problem either, because I'm becoming more and more confident that these haplogroup designations are who I have designated them to be, because these are major haplogroups: A, B, of course C, but that's Nimrod, and D and E. E is obviously Mitzrayim. D is obviously Canaan because it goes all the way to the land of Sinim. From the tribe, the Canaanite tribe of Sin or Sinim goes all the way to China, and that's where the D is found. And then I'm confident about haplogroup B because when you follow the haplogroup lineage, it starts out in the land of Cush and spreads out in like the spokes of a wheel from the land of Cush. So I'm confident about B. I'm confident about C being Nimrod because it can't be anybody else. And D is Canaan and E is Mitzrayim. The only one left is Put of the original Phoenicians, which used to be in North Africa, but they were apparently, according to this, pushed out from North Africa. But the name Phoenician stuck for the sea people of the Mediterranean in North Africa. The name Phoenician stuck. So that later you have what's called the Phoenicians. But the first Phoenicians were the descendants of Put in North Africa, which they're no longer there. Most of them had to migrate elsewhere in West Africa and Central Africa. and South Africa. The Khoisan people have the A haplogroup, but they also have the B as well. But of course, B is Kush. So there we go. Just the one thing I wanted to explain in this video is that it's not as hard as what I thought it was, because of the fact that this haplogroup, or this so-called S&P marker FGHIJK, has the defining marker of M89. So does GHIJK. It doesn't have a different defining. It has its own marker downstream, but it doesn't have its own initial defining marker. It has the same marker, M89, as F and H and I and J and even K. So M89 is an original S&P marker that is lost to the Hamitic lineage. So Ham probably lost that marker from the beginning in all his lineages. None of his lineages have it. His lineages do have this M168, which is shared with the rest of the world, except the rest of his own sons, after Nimrod, the rest of his own sons no longer have the M168. It's missing. So maybe I'll get it together and make a better chart for the shared, the unique markers, the shared markers, and the missing markers. So, but that's a good start, I guess. Might be a little confusing because I wanted it to be a better outline so I could show it easier. But that's that. Now, this is where it gets a little bit confusing, because when you get into the descendants of K, which K is its own lineage, but K is also what they call the beginning of the lineage, just like they attempted to do that with F. But now this haplogroup defining marker is M9 and P128. Of course, it shares M89. The L group, I just want to see which all ones have M89. Now, Grok could have forgot to put it in, but I have to double check now to see if they're all. I'm pretty sure all of them have M9, except I didn't see M9 in some of them. Okay, there's M9 there and M9 here, M9 there. Well, that's where I didn't see it was the N and the O. M9 and P. Now, the shared marker doesn't have M9 for Q. Why doesn't it have M9 for Q? I think shares M9 with K descendants. But the K descendants, or the common ancestors of K, in this case, are supposed to have the M9. Okay, it says parent to Q and R. It's not a parent. They have a common ancestor who is their parent. I know, because these are totally separate lineages. Q is totally separate from R. And K is totally separate from the others. But here we have Q missing the M9. and R is missing the M9. Now S has the M9 again. So I don't know what's going on with that. T has the M9, and that's it. Of course, S or M is not even here. Where's M? Oh, there's M. M and S are two different branches from the same lineage. They branch off from K tubal. Maybe that's why they have the M9 there. But I don't know why the other ones wouldn't share the M9. I don't know why Q and R don't have the M9. But anyways, this Y haplogroup M and S, they both branch off from K early on. They're the same lineage, same descendants of tubal. They branch out. If you look at the Simmons Genome Project, they branch out from K. You can clearly see it. But they separated so far back that even the M and the S are different haplogroups, different labeled haplogroups, but they're both in Papua New Guinea. Both of these M and the S are both in Papua New Guinea. So, and the only other Eurasian haplogroup in the area of the M and the S is the K. So they didn't just fall from the sky. They clearly, obviously branched off from K, but of course their genetic distance, being tribal people from Papua New Guinea, their genetic distance is very, very long, which doesn't equate to age, because it's the same age. Their lineage is the same age as everyone else's, but it just seems like a lot of genetic distance. Okay, so we got the T has the M9 with the K descendants. And I don't know why the Q and the R don't have it. Well, they're supposed to be Q descendants, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, the Q, actually the P, the Q, and the R are totally separate lineages in totally different places. The P is Meshach haplogroup. Q is the Medes because it has a Semitic mitochondrial lineage that follows it wherever it goes. Haplogroup R is the sons of Gomer because R1A is Ashkenaz, R1B is Ripfath, and R2, which is not listed here, is Togarma in India. So I gotta make sure to find out if, I don't know why haplogroup R wouldn't share the M9. I've got it shared as, I've had them all with M9 before, but I guess Grok just forgot to include it because it does that quite a bit. So it's hard to really know sometimes, you know, what the information is or if it's accurate information. So I say, what would happen if you root the tree in IJ so that IJ would be the oldest lineage? Everyone else is younger than IJ. Okay, and then I thought I asked another question too, but I didn't see it. That's what confused me. So anyways, we got current understanding, genetic phylogenetic implications, now the mutation rates, the timeline based on S&P mutations per generation. He's assuming that the mutation rate is the same in all the lineages, which it's not. So that's a false assumption. Obviously, shared. Okay. A00T. Well, why let's say A00T if it's not shared by T? I don't get that. It's so confusing. Because as far as I know, this is shared by A and B. This M91 is shared by A and B, even A and A00, but not anybody else. Because it didn't show up as shared by anyone except A and B. So it's a little bit confusing there, or Grok is confused. He's probably confused. Okay, origin, bottlenecks. Okay, no, but this assumption, the rooting of the tree in A is an assumption. It's not a fact, especially when A and B are the odd ones out that don't have the M168. So the A and B are the odd ones out. They no longer have the M168. Everyone else does. Only the A and B don't have it. Now they want to say, well, it was acquired so that everybody else does have it. But if you root the tree in IJ, it means that it was lost to A and B. Even though C retained it because Nimrod is the oldest son of Cush, able to share a marker with his uncles and older cousins, or his other cousins. Okay. Okay. Now they're talking about loss of basal diversity. Again, that has to do with mutation or genetic distance, and the assumption. It's all wrapped up in the assumption of the root in A. But we already know that IJ is arpachot. We already know that from the colon modal haplotype that IJ is arpachot. So there's no guessing that. We already know C is Nimrod because it can't be anybody else. He's the only Cushite, king of the world, Mesopotamia, in Asia. No, there was no other Hamitic king early on in Asia. Okay, street structure means it's all reverse. From A all the way to IJ has to be in reverse. From K down to the descendants of K, what they call descendants of K, which is not the descendants of K. It's just that they share a common ancestor with K, which is Japheth. So all the descendants of Japheth are KM9. Archaeological context. Okay, rooting at IJ could be useful for studying IJ subclades in isolation. No, it has to be. It's the global tree. If you root it, it applies to the global tree. It just means everything's backwards from A to IJ. Okay, so here we go. Now let's say there are three main nodes representing common ancestors. IJ the oldest. First group, K is the oldest. The second group, E is the oldest of the third group. So now we have three groups rooted in IJ. Okay. Current position, IJ. Understand implication. Let's repack. Okay, IJ. K is trying to reiterate that IJ, descendant of F. K is the descendant of F, but no, it's a common ancestor, not a descendant. E, descendant of CT. E is actually the oldest one, and it retains the M168 as well. So does D. So does C. The only ones that don't have the M168 is A and B, the descendants of A and B, with the exception of Kush, who is the oldest, who can share a marker with everyone else because he's the oldest one. Okay, group 1 rooted at IJ. So this is actually the IJ marker right there. You have the I descendants, the J descends Eurasian. Okay. Lines with G and H, which are also F descendants. But it's not, if you root in an IJ, G and H are not descendants of F. They're all descendants of IJ. Let me see. This is the last one, or did I ask another question? Thought I asked another question, but maybe not. Okay, I guess that's it. Okay. When the tree is rooted in IJ, H is younger than IJ. H, G, and F are younger. H, G, and F are younger than IJ. Okay. It also makes E the oldest, or just say older than. D, B, oops, not a B, B, and A. And okay, let me close this up a bit. There we go. All right, see what Grok says here. Because I don't think he understood what it means to be rooted in IJ. Okay, see what your scenario, IJ. significantly restructures. That's what happens when you root it in IJ. Okay, anyways. So FG and H are all under this S&P marker right there. They have their own unique markers, but they don't have a new defining marker. They have the same marker as all the other Semitic and Eurasian lineages. Okay, root at IG. Of course, these dates are way off. Basal lineage making it the oldest. All others are descendants. Well, descended from their common ancestor. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. Restructuring tree. Okay, here's possible structure. Now just what happened to the M89 now? Oh, refined. Okay. I'm gonna have to explain what's original. To explain what's an original S&P marker. Okay, let me try that. Explain everything. It's, it can't think for itself. It gives you the information, but it can't think for itself. Here's Eurasian. It's not Eurasian branch. I don't know why it has Eurasian. It's not Eurasian. Hypothetical tree. I, J. Why's it got I before J? Doesn't even make sense. IJ is the original lineage. I branches off from J. You got to explain every little detail sometimes. And they're all animated. I'm going to try it different here. Okay. Okay. See, when IJ is the root, M168 is an original S&P. M89 is also an original marker. Okay. What was it? M429? M429 is the original marker. If it's M429. M429 okay. Make sure that's the right S&P marker. M429. IG, yeah, right there. 429, right. And M89. Okay, so let's try that. Okay. Okay, in the scenario, as original S&P markers have a G or younger, E is older than D, B, and A, with C branching off from B, redefines the phylogenetic tree. Well, that's what we're doing. We're redefining it. IJ. Now, he's still saying IJ is a descendant of F. Oh, where? Oh. Redefines the current tree where it's a descendant of F and whatever. Yeah, but that's... Okay, interpreting the scenario. Rooted IJ's Basal group. Okay, we start at M168, M89, and M429. There we go. Original markers, meaning they define the root, IJ, or occur at the base. Right. I had to explain it to him. FG, HGF, F, yeah. H, G, and F, younger than IJ, right. Unlike country, yeah, I don't want to know about the country. I want to know about rooting it in IJ. Restructuring the tree. IJ is the root defined by all these S&P markers. M429, M168, M86 occurring at or near the root. Either part of IJ's founding mutations or markings immediate branches, okay. H, G, F, M89. No, it's not M89. That's not a defining. And K is M9, right. But this M89 is a shared marker. I have to explain that too. M89 is isn't that in there? Yeah, M89 is a shared marker. Doesn't originate with it. So I have to explain everything. I have to go through, explain everything. It takes a lot of time. So let's see if they got anything going on here. Here he has I before J. It's I branches off from J, so I should be after J. H, G, and F. M89 redefined. But no, that's not the defining marker of F. So anyways, F has its own defining markers. In fact, there's two F lineages, by the way. It's not just F. They're very rare and almost non-existent, but they're still existing. There's F1 through 5. In other words, F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. Then there's another F totally separate from this F. It's a lineage all of its own, totally separate, totally unrelated. Should have another letter designation, but they couldn't do that, so they named it F undefined. So the F1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is I have as Aram, and the F undefined I have as Lud or the Lydians. F of the Arameans, because both of them had trade to India, and they're only very rare in India. That's why when you look at a chart, it starts off with F in India, but it's where they ended up is the reason why they're in India. It's not where they originated from, because Arameans had trade all the way to China. That's why they ended up there where they are in India. And of course, if you had better testing, maybe it would be more common, or I don't know. This point, probably not. But okay, KM9. Okay. Yeah, K would be, okay. I'm going to have to explain what it means. Okay, role of S&P. Defines IJ consistent with its current role as an original marker. It marks the root. Defines everybody except for A and B. This one defines, M89 defines all the Hamitic and Eurasian. Eurasian is all the K. K, elemental, PQ, RS, and T. Okay, I'm going to have to tell them I'm going to have to tell them, hold on. Branch 1, Eurasian. Here we go with Eurasian again. What's this Eurasian? Why does it say Eurasian? It's not Eurasian, it's Semitic. Of course, because this is the Cohen modal haplotype, it's Semitic. Okay. And K is all the 7 sons of Japheth. All right. Let me explain one thing to him. Let me explain here that M89 is a marker that F shares with, I'll just say IJ. We need to know defining marker of F. So let's see. So the IJ I'll just say going from right to left, going the IJ lineage going from right to left is the Shem K B okay, try that. See how Grok responds to that. M89 marker is a marker that F shares with IJ and K. I need to know the defining marker of F So the IJ lineage is going from right to left. Not a defining marker of F. It's not a defining marker of F. I need to know the defining marker of F. So, okay, there we go. Let's try this. See if he put something together here. Okay. My scenario has got the biblical ancestors in there. Eurasian. He's got Shem's lineage as Eurasian. Well, what's the K lineage? I got to correct him on everything. Original marker, right? See the IJK. Oh. Well, then the K has a 429 anyways. Okay. I have to explain that I branches off from J. He's got the age mismatch. Of course, the age is going to mismatch because you're going by genetic distance, and you can't go by genetic distance because they're all the same age. I'll just say that. They're all the same age with the exception of the YI, the YI. Okay. So I'll just say IJ is not Eurasian. IJ Semitic, not Eurasian. K is Eurasian. Okay. 7 sons. Okay. Now let's see if he can, what he comes up with. Okay, younger, okay. But it's amazing how all these fit so well, though. I'm always impressed at how well these haplogroups fit the actual people. Okay, here's M89 shared by IJ, F, and K, not F's defining marker. Okay, FSNP or M23 defines F. Right, there we go. That's better. M168 is original. M429 is original. Okay, I and J. Here, I is a descendant of J. No, yeah, J, but not. I want to know if it extends to K. Yeah, K's Eurasian. Tied to Japheth. Right. C is Nimrod. And of course, B is Cush. Lineage of Ham. E. Lineage of Ham. Okay. See, restructuring the tree. Here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. So, restructure. The root is IJ with an M429, M168, M89. Forget the years. That's not relevant. Branch 1, Shem's lineage. J, I1, I2, J1, Semitic populations, Arab and Hebrews, of course. Well, of course it's Semitic. J2, they don't like to admit that J2 is Israelite, but is more than that, is Judaic. J2 is Judaic. Specifically, M172, there's a whole lot more than M172 in J2. But M172, I have defined as the descendants of David and Solomon because it's the largest defining marker, or it's the largest S&P marker of J2. But there's other ones besides M172. Okay, H has its own, G has its own, but they're all M89. There we go. Okay, we got E, then D, then B, then A. And I have to explain that who D, B, and A are. At least he has C under Kush. Okay. I have to explain who's who. Shared. Okay. Conflicting with current data, F specific. It's not F specific. It's Semitic and Eurasian specific. But that's what we have to endure. All these false assumptions. M168 at IJ, AB. Lack it. Right. Back mutation rare or branch pre M168. Back mutation rare. That's not when you have a large genetic distance. When you have a large genetic distance, it can lose markers, which it obviously did. because there's no question as to who these people are, who these haplogroups are. I mean, a lot of people will question it, but as far as I'm concerned, there's no question these are who they are. G is Syrian, H is Elamite, Elamo-Dravidians. IJ, the Cohen modal haplotype identifies. You know, it's not complicated. R is obviously the descendants of R, Gomer, are R1a Ashkenaz, R1b Ribfeth, and R2 Togarmah, 3 sons of Gomer, exactly where they're supposed to be. Q was in Europe, and he's in Europe accompanied by the X and the W, which is a branch, offshoot branch from A, which is the daughter of Shem that Madai of the Medes married to produce the Medes. Okay, IJ. I mean, this stuff fits together so well, it's unbelievable. So let me go ahead and explain further. Okay, hypotheticals, tree structure. K is your, okay. I already said K is a separate lineage. Okay. Oh, excuse me. I'll just go ahead and explain. Upside can share his uncle Arbacid IJ can share an S&P marker with his uncle Japheth. Just go ahead and say H is Elam, G is Asher, F 1 to 5, which he understands, is Aram, F F undefined is Lud. E is Mitzrayim. D is Canaan. B is Cush. And A is Put. All right, let's see what kind of a diagram he comes up with here. There we go. Okay, interpreting scenario, except for birth order. Okay. Tree structure. Here we go. Oh, I'll make a graph here. What we got here? Oh. All right. J to H, Elam, there we go. 69, G, 201 Asher, F1 to 5 Aram, F undefined Lud, undefined branch Middle East, K, M9, Japheth, C below. Japheth, we got L, M, N, O, P, N, O's together, P, Q, R, S, and T. That's why they have Q and R as the daughter of P. That's why they didn't have, that's why they didn't have the M9 S&P marker there. But I'm pretty sure they have the S&P marker. S and T or M and S are from K. T, of course, is the other. Okay, Ham's lineage, Mitzrayim. Possibly, okay. 168 if Basal is IJ. Okay, that's fine. D is Canaan. B is Cush. C is Nimrod. A is Put. Okay, that's good. Khoisans. So we got, I don't know what we got going on here. This thing, I guess I gotta, if I can move it or what, I don't know. Well, I'll just go ahead and add the Eurasians. Yeah, okay, that's the end right there. Okay, so I'll add the Eurasians here. I don't know if I can get this thing out of the way. I don't want to close it. Well, I can close it, I guess. All right. So there we go. I'll ask, or I'll gotta give the Eurasians. Okay. Tubal L M. L is to N O is Magog. P is Meshach. Q is Madai. R is Gomer. R1, oops. 1A is, straighten this out here. R is Gomer. R1A is Genaz. R1, oops, 1B is Fath. That's how you spell it, I guess. And R2 is Togarma. S branches of K. T is Javan. Elisha, Dodanim, Kittim, and Tarshish. 4 sons of Javan in the Mediterranean. They're all over, all the way to India, as a matter of fact. They're between Iberia and India. So K is Tubal, L is Tiras, M branches off from K, N-O Magog, P is Meshach, Q is Medai, R is Gomer, R1A is Ashkenaz, R1B Ripvath, R2 Togarma, S branches off from K in Papua New Guinea, T is Javan. ST. Okay. What else do I got to say here? Anything? That's good enough for that now. See if you can come up with a graph for me. Maybe I can copy this graph. Or save that graph. Okay, shared by IJ. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. Tree structure. Here we go. Shem's lineage, Semitic. We got that right. H. Elam, unique S&P. F, shared S&P. Where's the unique S&P? Okay. Or M22. Okay. S&P 1. F S&P 1. Okay, whatever. F undefined, load, see below. K, see below. Okay. Unique M9, L, M, NO, P, QR, ST. Okay. Guess I had to rewrite it. Must have to rewrite it, I guess. Japus lineage, Eurasian. P, Meshach, here we go. Branch 3, Ham's lineage out of Africa. Mitzrayim, 96. D, Canaan. Now I got to explain that Mitzrayim, Canaan, Cush, and Put are all brothers. Oh, well. Otherwise, I can't use the graph. If I could, I don't know if I want to save this yet or not. I don't think I want to save it yet. Because he's got the brothers of Mitzrayim are under Mitzrayim. Is not supposed to be under him. Not offspring. So A and B are brothers of Mitzrayim, not offspring. Oops. Not offspring. It's not offspring. Okay. C is the son of Cush. B. C, Nimrod, son of Cush. They got the other ones. I can't see it now anyway. Oh, and okay. Sounds of Gomer R1A, R1B, okay. Takes a lot of work to get everything straight because Grok doesn't always think very well. Okay, we'll go with that for the time being, I guess. Let's see. Try that. Oops, getting hard to read, I guess. It's a good tool. I mean, it can get stuff in order eventually, but might take a while. Let's see. Okay. Actually, we could say IJ is like Abraham, but I'll leave that for like that for the time being. We got J, H, G, F, K. Now I got to explain. These are and sometimes it doesn't understand. Here we go. We got this straight. Got this one straight. Maybe I'll understand the other one. Okay. E Mitzrayim, A Put, B Cush, C is Nimrod, the son of Cush, and D is Canaan. And E, where's E? Oh, E's already. Wait a minute. It's supposed to be E, D, then A. See, it's not like he can think very well. So I have to go put in the birth order. Okay, whatever. It's a lot of work. A lot of work. Anyways, just get an idea, I guess, how much work it takes. Uh, hey. L N O. Oops. N O. Come on. Put this in here. Naples. Okay. Okay. L N O P Q R T. There we go. So should be able to understand this. It's like computer code. Should be able to understand it, no problem. Birth order of Ham's sons are EDBA. Birth order of Japheth's sons are KLNOPQRT. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sons of Japheth. Okay, so that's good. Let me try that. Maybe it'll make a good chart for me. Let's see. Just ignore these numbers. These numbers here, they're invalid. We're going by too many assumptions. Too many assumptions. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Maybe I can save this thing. Now, see how it comes up. Okay. That J there. Okay, now that's good. That was good before. Yes, F. Except that Lud is a son of Shem as well. Aram and Lud. Okay, he's got Aram and Lud that way, anyways. You don't have to repeat what the birth order is. I'm just trying to put them like halfway in decent order. You still don't got it right. You got K tubal. You got everything else under tubal. Still didn't understand. Still didn't get it. I thought he would get it, but didn't get it. Anyways, that's about good enough for right now. Anyways, it's too much work to get this thing. And after a while, I get so confused. He starts confusing everything too. Besides, so anyways, there you go. You got an idea, anyways. Even if Grok can't grasp who's a son and who's a brother and stuff like that. Yeah, K tubal Japheth. No, K, whatever. So it does have K here. KL, MNO, PQR, and S and T. I guess that's not too bad. Anyways, good enough for now. Wore myself out. Should see when I get in an argument with Grok. They'll be saying, well, I'm just trying to give you what the consensus is. Says, yeah, but I don't care about consensus. I want to know what the verifiable facts are. See who we got here. We got Keith Colvin. Thank you for devoting so much time to this and for taking time to explain a tough subject. Yes, we'll highlight that. So I like that if it'll work. It is a lot of work. Hikers hike. Okay, just came to feed. Okay, just came to my feed. Oh, came to the feed. I clicked. Can anyone tell me where this is from? Is a live lecture. It was a live lecture, but now it's got tired of the lecture. So, anyways, yeah, I'm going through the family tree of our family tree of the 16 grandsons of Noah. Every grandson of Noah has their own haplogroup designation. And this is basically my own work by myself with help. People helped me with it. Somebody actually helped me with a tribe of Sinim, which is a Canaanite tribe, which I designated as D, but actually D has to be the whole tribe of Canaan. I mean, all the sons of Canaan, even though only the tribe of Sinim basically is left, but I'm sure there's others scattered around too in places. But anyways, thanks for participating and joining, and hope everyone has a nice week. It is Monday, I guess, right? All right. So God bless everybody. Take care, and some good studying. Yeah, and I enjoy working on it. And to me, it fits together so well. I'm just very impressed. Well, might as well try this here. There you go. Take this out. Yeah, so I'm always amazed. I'm always amazed at how well this fits together. This all fits together. 16 grandsons of Noah all have their own haplogroup designation from S&P markers, except that the problem is that in the out of Africa scenario, they made the mistake of rooting the tree in Africa, which they assumed was A00. Or at the time, I think it was A0 or A whatever. But anyways, that assumption, of course, is wrong because descendants of Ham are the younger sons, not the older sons. So they're down the line, and it is what it is, regardless. C is definitely Nimrod. H is definitely Elam. G is definitely Asher. IJ is definitely Arpachshad. E is definitely Mitzrayim. And R is definitely Gomer. So, go from there. Q is definitely the Medes, Madai. It's just, once you see it and it clicks, then it all falls into place. And it makes so much sense. And you can follow the haplogroup lineages wherever they go, wherever they originated from to wherever they go, as soon as they get all the data straight. So God bless everybody and take care. Have a great week.